Today I'm going to show you how to evaluate expression with variables. If you take a look at this first example, you can see that it's asking us to evaluate 14 plus c if c equals 32. Now, we know that evaluate means find the value. So we're simply trying to solve this. We're trying to find what 14 plus c is. If you have a variable is simply a letter that stands for an unknown number. In this case, they tell us what c equals. C equals 32. So what I'm going to do is take that number and I'm going to substitute it into my little expression here. So I'm going to rewrite it as 14 plus, here's the substitution. I'm going to take 32 and put it in for c. And then I'm going to simply evaluate using order of operations. This is a simple one. I'm just adding, I only have one operation, and 14 plus 32 is 46. Remember to always follow order of operations when evaluating. Let's look at another example. Make sure you write these down, and you can also pause the video if I'm going too quickly. Here we have x minus y if x equals 47 and y equals 13. In this expression, I have two variables, x and y. I'm going to use the same process. I'm going to take what they tell me x is, and I'm going to substitute it for x, 47. Then I'm going to take what they tell me y is, and I'm going to substitute it for y. And then again, I have a simple one operation expression here. I'm just going to subtract them, and I get 34. Okay? Take a look at a few more complicated examples. In example number 3, it says evaluate 4 plus mn. If m equals 6 and n equals 2. In this example, we've got two operations. We've got adding 4, and then we've got this mn. We've got our variables sitting next to each other. If you remember, if a number is next to a letter, we've seen this before, that means multiply. So, when I go to do my substituting, watch how I do this. 4 plus, it tells me m equals 6, so I'm going to put 6. It tells me n equals 2, so I'm going to put a 2 in for n. But be careful. You might misread this as 62. That's not what that means. Two variables next to each other means multiplication. So I need to put some symbol in here to tell me to multiply. We don't use x anymore in algebra because x is a variable. So let's not use x for multiplication. You can either use a dot right in the middle of the two numbers, that means multiply, we've seen that, or we could use parentheses around one or both of the numbers, and that also tells us to multiply. Now I've got to be careful to use order of operation. What should I do first? 4 plus 6 or 6 times 2? Remember, in order of operation, multiplication is more important than addition. So I'm going to do the multiplication first. 6 times 2 is 12. I'm going to bring down the rest of my problem. Now I do the last operation, in this case is addition, and 4 plus 12 is 16. Okay, make sure you copy down that example. Remember, as you show your work, it's going to get smaller and smaller, like an upside down triangle. Let's look at one more example. In this one, we've got 2r to the second power, and it's telling us r equals 1/5. This is as hard as it's going to get for right now. Not only do we have an exponent, but we've got a fraction that we have to substitute. So, let's go ahead and do our substituting. So I've got 2 times r, which is 1/5. So I'm going to put in 1/5 here. And then I've got to put in this little 2. That's our exponent. That means we're going to raise 1/5 to the power of 2. Now, this is extra tricky. Now, notice I put the r in parentheses so that we know it's being raised to the power of 2. I guess you don't have to do that, but I wanted to separate it from the 2. It's not 2 and 1/5 to the power of 2. It's just 1/5 to the power of 2. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do 1/5 times 1/5. And as we know, when we learn how to multiply fractions, you just multiply the numerator, multiply the denominator. So that's 1/25. And the reason I did that before trying to do anything with the 2 is because exponents come high on our order of operations. Remember, always do what's in parentheses first. Then always evaluate exponents second. They're the second most important. Then do any multiplication and division from left to right, equally important. Then any addition and subtraction. Again, work from left to right. Okay, so I've got 1/5 times 1/5 is 1/25. The last thing I'm going to do is figure out what to do with the 2. Well, that just means multiply. See, the 2 was next to the r in the beginning, so I have to now multiply 2 times 1/25. Well, that's easy. We know how to multiply a mixed number or a whole number times a fraction. We just write 2 over 1 and multiply it by 1/25. Try to cross simplify if you can. I can't in this case, so I'm going to get 2 over 25. And that is the answer. I can't simplify that anymore. It's a proper fraction, so I don't have to do any division. So my final answer is 2/25. That is as hard as it gets, folks, for right now. If you understood that one, great. If you didn't, rewind the video, watch it again. Pause parts if you want to try things on your own. If you're ready to move on, continue, and I want you to try the first 5 problems here. Pause the video, try those 5 problems. Number 5 is kind of a bonus. Unpause when you're finished and we'll go over the answers. All right, let's take a look at how you did. P plus 13 when P is 8. So that's 8 plus 13, and that would simply be your favorite number in mine, 21, right? Number 2, 23 minus x when x is 6, that's 23 minus 6, which is simply 17. How'd you do on those two? Number 3 has some multiplication. 13y when y is 7. So I'm going to use a dot to show the multiplying. And 13 times 7 is 91. Did you see number 4? It's kind of weird. It looks like the word am, but it's am. And what does that mean? It means multiplication. So I've got to do a times m when a is 3 and m is 24. If you didn't understand that one, that's what it meant. It means 3 times 24. So you work that out and you get 72. Did any of you get that one right? Go back and try it again if you need to. And here comes the hardest one. 6 times p to the 3rd power when p equals a half. So what I have here is I have 6 times 1/2 raised to the 3rd power. So that means I've got 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3. Oops, I'm sorry, I wrote that wrong. 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. 1/2 to the 3rd power, not 1/3. So then I just multiply the numerators, multiply denominators carefully. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so 1/2 to the 3rd power is 1/8, but I mustn't forget then to multiply that by 6. So now I have 6 times 1/8, and that simply gives you, as you can see, 6 over 8 in simplest form is 3/4. How'd you do on those? All right, go back, review them if you need to, and we will practice evaluating expressions with variables some more tomorrow.